Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Attorney Podcast, where we talk to women attorneys all over the United States who are amazing at what they do inside and outside of the legal profession. As you all know, for the entire month of May, in honor of Haitian Flag Day held on May 18th of each year, I'm interviewing Haitian women attorneys who are at the height of their career. I am pleased to announce our guest today, Ms. Nadine Gedeon. She is a partner at Gedeon and Morales Law Group in Hollywood, Florida. She was born and raised in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, and obtained her first law degree from, and please don't laugh at me because I do not speak the best Creole, Université Quisqueya, located in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. Why? My mom is going to laugh at that. I already know it. While in Haiti, she worked for Red Cross and went on to work as a legal officer at the Haitian Red Cross before emigrating to the US. In May 2014, she earned her Juris Doctor degree from St. Thomas University, where she also graduated Magna Cum Laude. She is very active in her community and donates her time to numerous nonprofit organizations that provide pro bono legal services to the community, namely Lawyers to the Rescue, VIDA, and Americans for Immigrant Justice. Nadine, thank you so much for being here with us today to celebrate the month of May in honor of our country's Flag Day. It is very weird calling someone else my name.
Hi, Nadine. Thank you so much for having me. I am so honored to be here today. And I share the same sentiment as you. Calling you Nadine is like calling myself. But we have beautiful names, so.
We do. My friend Tanae, hey Tanae, she said, hello, Nadine's.
Hi.
It's so bizarre, but I love it. And thank you for agreeing to do this. You know, I had the idea kind of just pop up in my head because Camille and I, Camille is my producer. You've had contact with her as well as your office. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we were just thinking of different little things that, you know, we can do. And I figured, you know what, May is coming up. Let's get some attorneys on the books. And she just dove into her research and has been able to find an amazing lineup. So I'm really excited about this month, but I wanted to do something, you know, to celebrate my heritage. I'm Haitian, you know, just like you. I was born in Port-au-Prince also. Unfortunately, though, and I need to talk to you about this, I do not have the knowledge of my country that you have, right? Because you were born there, you went to school, you established your life in Haiti, right? So I don't have that, and so I definitely need to deep dive into that. But before we do all that, you know, I always like to ask my guests, why did they become an attorney? Because as you all know, there's plenty of Mitches out there that we can, you know, for everybody that means, what is it? It means careers, excuse me. There's plenty of careers out there that you can kind of follow. So what made you decide that you wanted to take this trajectory?
Right. It's a funny story, actually, because growing up in Haiti, you know, if you know, you have to choose, or your parents are expecting you to choose 3 or 4 careers. You have to be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, or an architect. So, but growing up, I always wanted to be a doctor. That's what I wanted to do. But it turns out that I have a fear of blood.
Oh gosh, you're the second person to say that.
And sick people. And I wasn't good with math. So not good if you want to be a doctor or if you want to be an engineer. Yeah. So I became a lawyer by default. That's what I like to say.
Okay, by default.
By default. But I fell in love with it right away, to be honest.
What fascinates you the most about being an attorney?
It's how people perceive us. Like we have unlimited knowledge and we can resolve everything, all of their issues. So I think the way that we are perceived and seen
Yeah, I think it's a big deal. I remember in law school, Professor Jose Anderson, I had him for constitutional crim pro. He would say, what other profession you know other than being an attorney where people just trust you on your name,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's a big responsibility. It really,
Very
really is.
prestigious.
Hmm. And so you're talking about knowledge and having answers. Um, I think, as attorneys, the law is fluid and it's ever changing. How do you kind of balance, being an attorney and learning, the law, what's new, what not to do, and so forth and so on? How do you balance all that?
It's very challenging because you have a flow of clients, of cases that you're handling, and at the same time you need to be aware of the news of the new laws that that are out there, and you have to know the decisions that will affect your case. So I try to participate in trainings and do the CLEs, go to seminars as much as possible. But even when I'm away, I have that stress because I need to work on my cases. But here I am, at a CLE or spending 4 days away of from my clients and my cases. But I have to do what I have to do, because without that, we will not be as efficient, and we will not do our work very well, like they say. We need to be competent in what we're doing, and continuing our education is part of that.
And I definitely agree. And, I feel the stress too, especially being a solo. And, I'll dive into that later with you. And I know backstage, we were talking a little bit. You have a partner,
Yeah,
thankfully.
yes.
So at least you can step away for a little and say, you know what? I'm going to take care of me. I'm going to get myself a little bit more educated on this area of the law, and someone else can pick up the slack. So that's one of the downfalls of being solo, is that you are the attorney, you are everything, right? So things kind of stop a little bit with your cases. Um, let's pivot to, just making the decision to go to law school in Haiti. Like, what made you decide to do that there? And I mean, you have 2 law degrees. You
Yes.
don't just have one. You have 2 law degrees, which is amazing, because you could have come here and just did the LLM and got
Right.
that, you know. But what made you decide, part A, to go to law school in Haiti, and then part B, to attend law school in the US?
Right. So in Haiti, my path was already set to become a lawyer, since I couldn't, study any other field. So then I enrolled to become a lawyer in Haiti. I spent 4 years studying, and then you had to submit what they call a memoir. It's a thesis, and you have to defend the thesis to have that law degree. But then, circumstances beyond my control led me to immigrate here in the US. So, and then when I was here, I'm like, I'm an attorney. That's what I am. I cannot
Right.
be any other thing. I love it. I love being an attorney. So I want to continue doing that. So that's why I kind of made a sacrifice, because it's 3 years of your life on hold and studying nonstop to
Yeah.
be a full attorney. So that I wanted to be a full attorney in my capacity to serve my
Right.
client and
Right.
my.
Yeah. And that is true. Your life really is on hold, and it's amazing. You have 7 years, which is twice the amount of actual education you need in the US, right? What was it like, going to law school in Haiti versus coming to law school in the United States?
Well, we have a different system in Haiti. We follow the French system, so it's really book oriented. And Haiti is a third world country. It's not well organized, but it it was more like a literature, but kind of the same when you're studying law here, because they don't show you the practice of law. If you don't attend a clinic, or you don't intern with a judge, or with an office, you won't really know what to expect being a lawyer. So it was more or less like that in Haiti, but I had fun. A lot of, readings, books in French. So
Oh, you speak French?
I do fluently.
Oh gosh, my French is horrific. Horrific. You see, my Creole is bad. But
Well,
the practice of law, and I'm glad you brought that up. And I've talked to several people, several individuals on the podcast, and it seems like we all have the same sentiment, right? Is that we go to law school and we're learning all this stuff, and it's a different language. You had to do it twice in
right.
in two different capacities. And so we're learning all this stuff, but where is the actual practical, right? Because I can know how to essentially write a memo, but what about the procedural aspect? When do I file it? What accompanies it? Who am I serving?
Right.
Things like that, right? If someone opposes it and there's a motions hearing or something like that, what is a motions hearing, right? What am I doing? Like, there's a practical component of being an attorney that we have to learn in practice after we've opened our own firms or, work with someone else. And I'm just grateful. I've been very blessed to have people around me that I can go to and say, hey, Chris, this so-and-so did this. What do I do next? Right. And that's how I've been able to learn 10 times faster than anybody else who's in my position. So how did you navigate leaving, law school in Haiti, coming here, learning a different system, and then getting into private practice? You're just like, I'm way.
A lot of perseverance and resilience, because when I want something, I just go for it. That's what led me to open my own law firm right after law school. So I didn't even have experience with other attorneys or other offices, but that's what I wanted. And I created a path to be successful in what I'm doing. So like you said, having mentors, connections, it was hard because in my situation, I didn't really have someone to show me or to guide me on, what to expect at the end. Because in law school, if you take certain classes, it will help. For example, trial advocacy and other classes. And I didn't take those classes. It was super hard on me because the rule of evidence, you have to know how to put them in practice. Yes, I did study them, but how do you object to opposing counsel?
When do you object, and how do you keep going after an objection, right? Like, what do you say? Like, what's the result? One of the things I remember when I first moved into the suite that I'm in another building, but with the same people, one of the attorneys, I was an associate, she showed me the sheet that she has. And so she'll have like the piece of evidence, and then she'll have the rule, why we're doing it, and any possible objections. That was a lifesaver, because it's like seeing it on paper, for some reason it clicked. What was the biggest pain in the butt for you in evidence? For me, it was that damn hearsay rule.
Oh my God. Yes. Hearsay. So many of them.
It really is. There's so many exceptions. I'm like, why? So, you create like little postcards, like, okay, this exception, blah, blah, blah. But, as you go along, you start to see, it's funny, not all of them get used quite often, and it's just like, why do we even still have this on the books if it doesn't even get used? But there's a lot of hearsay rules out there. But I love that you said that, you created a path to success. I interviewed a magistrate, exceptions to the exceptions to the exceptions. Oh my gosh, yes. That's why when people ask me questions, I hate giving this answer, but it's like, it depends, right? Because that's what the law is. It depends.
I see that 90% of the time in my practice, and my clients, they don't like it.
They don't. No. They do not like it. They're like, well, what do you mean it depends? Or so-and-so got the same outcome and we have the same case. No, different jurisdiction, different judge, different magistrate, different incomes, different everything. You might have one thing different and it might change the whole trajectory of the case. So my clients don't like it either. What is the biggest thing that you learned as a law firm owner that was a lie? You already know what mine is, and we're going to talk about that. But what was your thing?
Oh my God. So many of them. So many. I don't even know where to start. It's just my clients. They're not your friends.
No.
They're your friends when they get the outcome that they want. Once they don't get the outcome, they're the first one to throw you under the bus. So that was 100. One thing. And then, but overall, I like the experience. But, you think that you really have time to do what you want, but you don't have time because as a business owner, as a law firm owner, you have a responsibility. And sometimes I work 10 hours just because I know I have to finish that case. I have that deadline or I have other cases to attend. So I don't have the luxury to leave at 3 p.m. and go home. Or I feel like I'm working twice as hard if I was an employee because, if you're employed, you work 8 hours and that you pack and go. But you're responsible ultimately for your cases. So the liberty that I thought I was going to have with my time, the freedom of, coming in. Yes, of course, I can manage my time. So if I come in at 10 a.m., I know I can leave at 10 p.m. But at the same time, you work more hours in the day at the end of the day.
You definitely do. And, we talk a lot on the show about COVID because a lot of us, we went from working those 7-8 hours a day because we have other obligations. I know for me, I have to pick up my son. He gets out at 3:00. So I got to leave here at, X hour and I got to go get him and then I got to go home. And there's a lot that goes into that. So by the time you get home, you don't want to open a computer and, touch a laptop or anything, right? Mm-hmm. You want to just do what you want to do. Right. But it is difficult, like you said, because not only are you responsible for your cases, but you're responsible for people's lives.
Yeah.
And they're paying hard-earned money. Right. So ultimately we end up, I don't want to say paying the price, but, we end up having to work a little bit more. And I have to agree with you. Time is the biggest. And like I told you, I'm doing an audit for a client for, 4 years of income tax returns. That it's an insanity that I don't wish on anybody. Right. Having to go to bed at 11:30 to wake up at 4:00 to get at least 2 hours in, and then to wake up a kid and then drive to work. It's just, I'm amazed I'm walking right now. And that's, I think a lot of us, we tend to do that. We kind of just go that extra mile because we think that if we don't work these extra 6-7 hours, it's never going to get done.
Right.
And yeah.
Plus, you have other things because you're the administrator, you're the accountant, right?
Yes.
And you're the resource. You do all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. But the one thing that I'm learning, about this experience now, these past couple of weeks with this audit, I understand because I clerked at a estate planning law firm in Baltimore City, some years back, and they have an accountant on staff because they do only estates and trusts. I now understand why.
Right.
Because it is not my job to go through these numbers. It just isn't. It's my job to know the law as to whether these numbers are deductible, can be this, can be that. That's really what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to know the law, not how much income you actually earned, right?
Right.
So that's one of the things that I'm realizing that I have to pull back. But I think, and you let me know, because you know Haiti a little bit better than I ever will. Our people are very, we're driven.
Yeah.
We're very driven. And we think we can take on the world. Why is that? I don't know. We think we can do everything. So I'm getting away from that. But that brings me to my next question. Do you find it easier to take care of yourself and just, be a little bit more rejuvenated and relaxed so you can work better on your cases and kind of just show up for your clients, given that you have a partner and you're not solo?
I guess it might be easier for me, but at the same time, we have the same amount of caseloads, and she's as busy as I am. But I feel like if I have an emergency, she can put aside her cases and help me out. That I don't have that anxiety that if I'm not functional, that in my case they're gonna stay still. But most of the time I kind of feel the way that you feel, because if she's working on her cases, I'm working on my cases. We're doing the same exact thing, and we don't have time to really enjoy ourselves. So what I found is that you need to set time aside for yourself. I know I'm very busy, but I try to, for example, some days come to work at 10 a.m. because I want to exercise in the morning, or I want to have that 8 hours of sleep. I push myself, even though I have cases, but I'm like 1, 2 hours, it's not going to kill anyone. So I try to organize my time. It's not easy to have that balance that you're talking about.
Yeah.
But if you don't put the time, if you don't put it aside, you're never going to find the time to do it.
Yeah. And that is 100% true. That it just is. For me, it's a little difficult because for the past 2 days, I really wanted to get, some push because of the audits. As you know, when you have a trial coming up, you have to focus on the trial, right? So that means all the other cases have to sit for a week, at least a week, depending on how long your trial is.
Right.
So with this audit, everything sat. So now I'm like, okay, I'm home. I ended up just, allowing my son to go to school in a Lyft or Uber, whatever. And I was like, I have to stay here and I have to work, because I'm like, if I shower, it's going to take this. If I if I eat, it's going to take this. If I commute, I literally sat there and added up the minutes that I would use if I left the house. Right. And I like, you know what? I'm getting 3 hours back in my day. I'm going to use that 3 hours to get caught up on emails and all that stuff, so my clients don't think that I've abandoned them. And, I did that for 2 days. And then this morning I was like, why do I have to go in? And then I get here and I have 2, in-person meetings back to back. And then, and then I look up and it's lunchtime. I'm like,
so that's another thing, Nadine.
Yeah.
When you have your own office, you have to see the client. When do you have time to work on your cases? So usually you don't. So after 5, you have to close everything. Then, focus on your cases. But because during the day, you're seeing clients, you're answering emails, phone calls, but clients, they don't understand that. They want you to call them back ASAP, right away. You cannot wait 5 minutes, 12 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I have it where they can set an appointment. The problem is that my calendar, and Camille and I, we've worked on the calendar. My colleague Jaika, we've worked on my calendar. My next available appointment is June 13th. That's my next available.
Right, me too. I'm ordering in June, and they don't like that. When the assistant tells them, okay, she's available in June, they want to talk to you. No, it's too far away. No, I cannot create times. I cannot make up times for you because I don't have that time.
Yeah. And it's just tough to balance it all. And then you have to, talk with opposing counsel. If there is one, you got to file this, you got to file that. And it's just like, your head is exploding. But I love that, you say to just make the time and stop making excuses. And I tend to do that because for me, I don't know, I have that type A, I'm a friend of mine, she was telling me, she was like, well, you're very task-oriented people and a person, and task-oriented people, they have to get things done.
Right.
So when I don't get things done, I crumble. And I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm not getting things. And like my mom will call me. I'm like, I can't talk right now. She's like, okay, Matt, too busy. Okay, male. It's like, yeah. And I'm like, no, it's not that I don't have time.
When you're in bed, you're thinking about this case, you know, what's left to be done. It's like,
Oh my gosh. It's like you're literally in my brain. And you know, I want to see my family. I want to spend time you know, doing all this. And I want to, like you, I want to help everyone. But I'm now realizing I literally cannot. The only way I can help others, well, help everyone, is if I destroy myself in the process.
Right.
And I will not do that. I will not do that.
Everyone.
Yeah. And I think that's the danger of being an attorney, owning your own practice. Because if you are an associate, like you said, it's easier for you to have a cutoff time because you know it. But when you own the business, it's never off.
It's great that we're talking about that because this month is also I think it's Mental Health Awareness Month.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay.
So mental illness is a great thing in our community. So we need to address that because we need to think about ourselves and be, you know, so we need to ourselves be proactive, you know, better because we have an attorney, you know, I'm the president of the Haitian Lawyers Association. We have a former member. She had some mental issues and she's on the news and she said that she heard voices and she hit someone. She ran her car into someone because, you know, people don't, I guess she was suppressing the fact that she had a mental illness.
Well, so, Nadine, think about it though. We come from a background where mental health, and I agree, mental health is not something that come on, we both grew up in Haitian households. Yes. It was, if you're crying, what are you crying about? Let me give you something to cry about, which I think are all brown people, right?
Right.
So it's like, but, well, you hurt my feelings. Keep feeling. Okay, feeling? You know, something that I'm not feeling one. Like, it's just, there's no such thing as getting in tune with your emotions and working through them and stuff like that. And it's not because our culture is bad. It's not because, you know, our parents were horrible people. In fact, they were wonderful because look where we are. It's just that they are a type of people where a lot has happened to them. They have gone through a lot of really crappy things that no one should endure, you know? So they've grown up with I have to be strong. I can never show someone that I'm breaking or that I'm hurting. And so as a result, they've imparted that, you know, onto us. But I'm a huge proponent. I go to therapy. I'm in therapy. This month I didn't go just yet because this audit, but I go every week. I do my readings. I meditate. I don't play. Yeah, I don't play with my mental health. No. I don't play with my mental health. Yeah, that's because, you know, as attorneys, as you said, there's a lot that we have to endure. The stress. Tanae said I go to therapy. Yes, she does. It's just, I feel like all attorneys should have therapists, but whatever. That's just me.
Right. We need to find a way to disconnect to what's stressing you out. For me, is watching TV. Like the most ridiculous shows. I don't need something deep.
Like what? What do you watch?
Like Vampire Diaries, for example.
Oh my gosh.
You know, anything that's silly and
well, I watch Supergirl, so I probably shouldn't even be laughing.
Right. I'm a huge fan of
The Flash. I love The Flash. Oh my gosh. I'm a huge superhero nerd.
Me too.
Love it. And I agree with you. For me, it's making soaps, body butters, things like that. I don't get to do as often. Going outside. I used to walk every day. I took a break probably for the past month. I need to get back because being outside is important too.
Right.
That's another thing I didn't realize. Vitamin D from the sun really does lift your mood. So if you're in like a state of depression or something, it does help to kind of calm it. So I do that. What does success in life, look like for you?
Well, that's a great question. It's for me, is able to come to work and know that I'm gonna make a difference today because it's on me. It's whatever I decide today will have an impact
Yeah.
on someone else. That's what success means to me. Being able to make a decision that will impact somebody else's lives.
Yeah. And that's what we do day in, day out, whether it's a bad decision or a good decision, it impacts someone.
Right.
I love that. I love that. Because I know that your firm, and we didn't put this in the bio, you practice family law, immigration law, estate planning, and real estate work. Out
Right.
of all those areas, and I know the answer already because I asked you, but but out of all those areas, which one has like the biggest impact for you?
Immigration so far, it's
Yeah.
because you're making life decisions on someone else.
Mhm.
It's so I get so much pride and satisfaction in helping someone, knowing that I'm making a difference in that person's life. Because with that green card, with that legal status, that person's life is a completely different thing. Changing the life of that person completely into integrating the community, fully. I love that I can have that impact on my clients' lives.
It's a big one. It
One.
creates, and it creates just a domino effect, right?
Right.
Because it created one for us,
Yes.
but it created one for us. Our
It's
parents. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Sorry.
No, I was you found the right word, the domino effect, because
Mhm.
that person is somebody else's spouse,
Yes.
husband, father, and child. So, meaning putting that person in a situation where they're secure,
Mhm.
has an impact in the whole family.
Yeah. Look at, but if we're not a testament of the American dream and what, having the legal status or immigrating to the US can do, I mean, look at the impact that it's had on our families and us, right?
Right.
We're able to be here, inspire another generation, and do amazing things. And our families are from the same place, speak the same language, and it's had an identical effect. Now, I don't have a Haitian law degree, Miss Fancy, but but I do have an LLM, so hopefully that counts. So as far as your work, I know you do a lot of community service, which I absolutely love. What would you say? When would you say, excuse me, was the last time that you went to Haiti? Because I know you've done some work with the Haitian Red Cross. When was the last time you went and kind of immersed yourself in the country, in the food, and just the culture?
Right. It wasn't March 2021 because
Oh man.
I go back. I used to go back often back in the days. Now the situation is so difficult right now that even I, who has a kind of like an appreciation in habitude,
Mm-hmm.
with the culture, even I am afraid of going back because
Okay.
people talk so much around me. My husband are like, no, but I used to go twice, 3 times a year. And last year I went twice. And the last time I was there was in March of 2021. Then, we had the assassination of the president. We had the crisis with the gangs and the kidnappings, the increasing of kidnapping cases.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me just chill out for a little bit. But
Yeah. Stay
I
where you are.
I
Yeah.
went to
That's
vacation.
yeah. That's why my mom. It's funny because I'm grown, but you know how Haitian parents are. You're always their children. And she does not. She's always made the statement like, Haiti, yeah, right now is just not a good idea for you to go. but I mean, ultimately I would love to maybe do a cruise there or something like that. Because I mean, I don't know anything about it. I would love to go, and kind of immerse myself in everything. But it's definitely a country that is just under a lot of unrest right now.
Right.
And I just don't fully understand, because I don't watch news. Talking about protecting your mental health, for me, news really, really does mess with my mental health, right? Because I'm thinking of all the famine, all the hunger, the people in danger, all the stuff, for whom I pray for every night. But it's like, I'm just one person and I'm not enough.
Right.
So I don't watch news. So when my mom starts to talk to me about it, I'm like, I don't want to hear it. La, 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 la. Like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. But it's such a weird spot to be in for someone like you who goes back, all the
It's
time.
very sad. I feel like I was kicked out of my own country, because I love going to Haiti. You would love it because you feel like home.
Yes.
And it's organic. The food is excellent, and the sun, shines differently in Haiti, and
Aw.
everything is so different, and the people, they're so loving and affective. So I miss it, and I have family over there too. But I'm here. If I was expelled, I can say, because
Yeah.
I want to go, but I cannot go because of the situation. And
Yeah,
it's
no,
really
for your safety. Yeah, for your safety, it's better to stay. And I hear that about everyone, who goes to Haiti that are not Haitian. They always make the same statements. They're like, the food, the people, they were treated so well. And then, you hear the news and you're just like, what is going on? I'm gonna tell you a funny story. So my family still lives in Brooklyn, New York. And probably, I don't remember when I went. I had my son's friends here for the weekend, and I went to go bring them back. And I get to Brooklyn, and my sister's like, hey, can you get mom some food? Okay, no problem. I go to this Haitian restaurant called Vibes in Haitian, or Vibes in Haiti, or something like that. Really, really good food. Now, I don't eat meat. I just don't eat meat. And so I go to the restaurant and I'm like, hey, can I have some legumes? Julia pois, which is basically vegetables with, rice and beans. And she's like, okay, well, what kind of meat do you want? I was like, I don't know, chicken. She was like, she was like, you want me to put it in the vegetables? I said, yeah, I guess. I don't know. And she's like, okay. So she hands it to me and she comes back. She's like, are you sure you want chicken in the legume? I said, ma'am, I don't cook Haitian food. I don't know what goes in it.
definitely not chicken.
This woman just started laughing her ass off. She's like, kunyam kopran. It's like,
No, not chicken. Definitely not.
I'm Haitian, but I'm not a real Haitian. I'm an American Haitian, okay? We're different. We don't know what goes where. I didn't. And so I get to the house and I told mom, I said, well, apparently I almost put chicken in there. She's like, oh, petit viande? I said, well, yeah, what goes in it? She goes, no, it's beef. I'm like, mom, I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. No clue.
It's beef, or some people put pork, but usually it's beef.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I promise you I didn't know. It took me like 15 years to learn how to cook white rice. And I actually learned through YouTube. I learned with this gentleman who is Caucasian, and I cook the best white rice after 15 years of trying.
Never better late than never.
That is true. I suck at cooking. But then when my mom eats it, she's like, oh, is it? Like, they want the rice to be like so full of water. I'm like, no. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that. But before I let you go, I like to ask this question. What impact would you like to have on your community, after it's all said and done? on your community, your family, your friends? What do you look to leave behind?
Right. I want my community to have equal access to justice, and so they can participate fairly in the the US culture. I want to inspire young girls or young Haitian so they know that they can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. So we have, unfortunately, most of the minorities, including Haitians, they don't have role models. They don't know that they can be lawyers or they can be doctors. Because I remember a story. My husband, he's a doctor, and he did his residency in Ohio, Akron, Ohio, and he was at the hospital, and this Black person came to him, worked, and says, "Oh my God, I need to introduce you to my son, because this is the first time I'm seeing a Black doctor." It was what, like 2017, 2018.
Oh,
So we have, yeah, we made it. I think we are the exceptions to the rules. And diversity in the legal field, diversity in, everywhere, in every field, I feel like it's important, so they can have they can fulfill really their lives.
yeah,
They need to know that if they want to be a lawyer, you don't have to be a lawyer, you don't have to be a doctor, but if you want, you can. It's possible.
yeah. It's available to you, and it's
Yeah.
not for people who have picture perfect backgrounds or two-parent households and
Right.
living in the suburb and stuff like that. And I know that that's what you seek to kind of push through with your work, with HLA and VIDA and all the organizations that you're a part of. You push that narrative like, hey, I'm here, and if I'm here, you can be here too.
Be here too.
Yeah, yeah, especially coming to the US at a later time in life with a degree and having to start all over.
And my story is even deeper than that. I
Yeah.
lost both parents when I was 18 and 20 years old. I had to put myself to school. Of course, I met my husband at an early age, and I kind of adopted his family, but they were not spending money on me. I had to work to pay for my bills, my school, and everything. So, with resilience and dedication, you can achieve whatever you want. You just have to have the mindset, and you have to see probably some example. And I am one of the examples.
Yeah. And mindset though, and I'm sorry to hear about your parents, and clearly you persevered, but your mindset is also related to your mental health,
Right.
right? One
Correct.
of the things that I am learning is how connected they are, and their relationship to your self-esteem and that connection to how people see you, right?
It's so right. I always say that m'pap kite person mon bom cheveux blanc. It's like it's my
Right.
motto. Right.
Well, I have like 400 of them. You just can't see it with all this makeup on, but I have
I
like
have
400.
only one gray hair, one, and I'm
Oh,
I know, and I'm like, because in our culture, you get gray hair from people, stressing you out. That's
mhm.
what they believe.
Yeah,
Maybe it's true. I don't even know.
yeah,
Maybe it's
yeah.
medically correct,
No,
but
I think it's true. Look at Obama the first year he went into office versus the fourth. Look
I
at the
have
fourth year.
I have to protect my hair, my black hair.
It is one of
It's
those
a
things
joke,
where
but
it
you
is.
know what I mean.
No, but it's something to laugh at because at the end of the day, it's true. Being an attorney, business owner like you, I opened my firm as soon as I got out of law school. I was like, I'm not waiting for any opportunities. I'm creating my own. And
Right.
that's what I did. But with that came the gray hair because I'm not good at not worrying, right? I'm always worrying about X, Y, and Z. And I'm working on it now to kind of just, let things be laissez faire, right? Just let them lie, let life kind of just do its own thing, you know, which is my son's way of thinking. Like, I just let life kind of just do its thing. And I'm like, what does that even mean? You know, because I am the complete opposite. But your mental health is so connected to the way that people see you and all that, because we grew up, you and I both grew up in a culture where it's, you know, oh, what fait voisin dit this, what fait voisin dit that. Like, it's not, it's very outside based, right? Because again, that perception of, I got to keep it together, everything has to be okay, you can't fall apart, you can't ask for help, do it yourself. Exactly. But I'm now learning that, you know, happiness and fulfillment and success is not out there. It's not out there. It's literally here, and it's here.
Yourself in your mind.
Yeah, it really, really is. And unfortunately, it's taken me 37, gonna be 38 years and 13 days to figure that out. But ultimately, I'm now having to undo all of that programming from everybody else of, you know, that your self-worth is tied to a car, a house, a bank account. No, it's not. No, it's not.
No.
It's really not. You know, it's up here and it's in here. But with that said, thank you so much for, you know, just bringing some light to my day today. I am probably the most tired I've been all month. But talking with you has energized me in a way that I did not anticipate. It is still very weird seeing my name on screen, not on my side, but I love it. I love it. Thank you, Nadine. Nadine. That's what my son walks around all day. Nadine. With that said, if people want to reach out to, you know, your firm and they want to get to know you a little bit, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Well, they can go to my social media pages. I have my own for my firm, Gedeon and Morales Law Group, and also for the Haitian Lawyers Association. We have information about everything that we do. Especially right now, we have a TPS help program that we have. We're filling out TPS applications and anything related to TPS for free. Because with the help of the city of Miami, and we're doing it for the Haitians and the Ukrainians. Wow. So they want to go to our website or our pages on IG, Instagram, and Facebook. And also the office number is 754-300-8980. So.
Well, thank you so much for that. I actually had day before yesterday, I had on Beatriz Cazo.
Oh, wow. Yes.
Yeah, I was super nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, my first magistrate. Like, what do I say? How do I sit? And it's, you know, during the interview, my chair started going down. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I was trying not to think about it. Because I'm like, of course, this is my life. Of course, this would happen the first time I'm interviewing my first Haitian woman attorney, right? It just hilarious. So I will not be a stranger with HLA. I've been wanting to join, and I hope one day you can join us. So I don't know if you know, but the Haitian Embassy in DC, because I'm in Maryland, I know you're in Hollywood, but the Haitian Embassy in DC, they actually have a party every year. I don't know if they're going to do it this year. Haitian food, Haitian music. Hopefully, you know, you can fly out and join us one day.
I'll try.
Yes, will do. Thank you again for being here. And, you know, I've learned a lot. No problem. I hope to see you again. You know, I learned a lot about you, but I really just want to emphasize your perseverance and your resilience, you know, for just shining and being as awesome and doing all that you do for your community and the people that look like you and may not even look like you, but just truly helping yourself and others make a difference. And, you know, for that, I appreciate it. I'm sure your people appreciate it. And thank you for being here with us today. I am your host, Marie-Eve Nadine G. Baptiste, owner and CEO of the St. Eve Law Firm here in Towson, Maryland. Please follow, like, and subscribe. We are on all social media outlets. You know, send us a message and we will try our best to get back to you as soon as possible. We're a little booked up right now, but if you have any questions and we can't help you, we will send you a referral of an attorney in your area that can. Nadine, merci for being here. Don't laugh at my it's still so weird, but it's awesome. Thank you again, Camille. Thank you for another amazing show. Everyone have a wonderful day and passe un bonne journée.